Chapter 1678. Upon hearing the green-robed man's words, Yi Xian took the item in Little White's paw without saying a word. It was an arm guard. The arm guard was dark gold in color and was as smooth as a mirror. At the top of the arm guard there was a dark dragon, and at the end of the arm guard there was a golden dragon. Yi Xian looked at the arm guard and then looked at the green-robed man. "Dad, this is?" The green-robed man looked at the white little guy helplessly. "You little guy. You're really generous." The white little guy blinked and then grinned. The green-robed man looked at Yi Xian. "Why don't you change it?" Yi Xian quickly said, "No way. This is a gift from Little White. Dad, don't do such an immoral thing." The green-robed man. At this time Arya suddenly said, "This is the beast god's arm." Yi Xian looked at Arya. "Beast god's arm?" Arya nodded. "There is the beast god's soul and 2 dragons inside. Those 2 dragons are not good, but the beast god's soul is not bad." Yi Xian quickly asked, "How powerful is it?" Arya licked the candied fruit. "Not as powerful as me anyway." Yi Xian. At this time the green-robed man suddenly laughed. "This thing is not suitable for you now." Yi Xian was puzzled. "Why?" The green-robed man said, "Because you are too weak to control this thing now." Yi Xian's face was full of black lines, mocking me again. The green-robed man said again, "The beast god's soul is not an ordinary demonic beast, it is a demonic beast far beyond the realm of intent realm. The strength of its soul is not something you can control now. In addition, the 2 dragons inside are also at the peak of intent realm, they are not something you can control now." At this time Yi Xian suddenly said, "I have a way." The green-robed man blinked. "What way?" Yi Xian said seriously, "Dad, is it stronger than you?" The green-robed man laughed. "What do you think? Your father is invincible." The corner of Yi Xian's mouth twitched. "Damn it, this old man of mine is too shameless." Yi Xian shook his head and continued, "Does this beast soul know of your existence?" The green-robed man nodded. "Of course I do." Yi Xian said solemnly, "You didn't kill him, did you?" The azure-robed man shook his head and smiled. "No, I just obtained this item by chance." As he spoke, he looked at Yi Xian. "Do you really want this?" Yi Xian grinned. "If you don't object, I want it." After a moment of silence, the green-clothed man said, "If you take this item, then there will be karma, and you will have to bear this karma yourself. Think about it carefully." Yi Xian thought for a long time before saying, "I'll take it." Karma? What was he afraid of? If he couldn't stop the karma, he would push it onto his father. The green-clothed man nodded. "Then I'll give it to you. But remember, the power of this item far exceeds what you have now. Don't use it unless you have no other choice." Yi Xian nodded. "Okay." The green-clothed man smiled. "Then we'll be leaving." Yi Xian nodded. "Okay." The green-clothed man looked at Yi Xian. "You don't seem to be very sad that we're leaving." Yi Xian was speechless. The green-clothed man patted Yi Xian's shoulder and said softly, "Take good care of yourself." As he finished speaking, he disappeared with Dong Linen and the rest. They left without the slightest hesitation. They left. Yi Xian looked at the sky, feeling a little empty in his heart. This time his father had really left. From now on he could only walk on his own. After a long time Yi Xian shook his head with a smile and turned to leave. At this moment he suddenly looked up and saw a box falling from the sky. Soon the box landed in front of Yi Xian. Yi Xian opened the box. Inside the box was the Sword Master's token. Yi Xian was stunned. At this moment, a loud laughter came from the depths of the distant starry sky. "Your father will always protect you." Yi Xian's heart warmed. A moment later he shook his head with a smile, put away the Sword Master's token and turned to leave. Somewhere in the depths of the distant starry sky, Dong Linen, who was beside the green-clothed man, said softly, "I can't bear to part with him." The green-clothed man held Dong Linen's hand and said with a smile, "Wait for him to come find us." Dong Linen nodded slightly. Soon the green-clothed man and the rest disappeared into the depths of the starry sky. About 15 minutes later, a phantom suddenly appeared in the field. The phantom didn't exist in the dimension of space, but in the dimension of time. Moreover, with its appearance the entire starry sky distorted. Because of this phantom, the dimension of time far exceeded the dimension of space, and the dimension of space couldn't withstand this dimension of time. A dimensional person. The phantom looked at the depths of the starry sky. After a long time he was about to leave. At this moment, a sword suddenly tore through the sky, and the phantom wasn't even able to react before the sword pierced his forehead. Boom. In an instant, the dimension of time was reduced to nothingness. A few million kilometers away, The green-clothed man opened his palm, and a sword appeared in his hand. There was a trace of blood on the tip of the sword. Dong Linen looked at the green-clothed man. "What's wrong?" The green-clothed man smiled. "It's nothing. Let's go." Dong Linen glanced at the green-clothed man and didn't ask anything else. In next to no time, the green-clothed man and the others vanished into the depths of the starry sky. The heaven-splitting clan. In a certain hall there were only two people inside. Elder Mu and Amulian. Elder Mu spoke softly. 16 intense? Are you sure? Amulian nodded. Elder Mu remained silent for a long time before he shook his head and smiled bitterly. So the heaven-splitting clan is just an ant in this universe. Amulian remained silent. The disaster law nodded. There shouldn't be a problem. Yi Xian nodded slightly and he glanced at the disaster law. What about you? The disaster law shook its head. There isn't enough purple gas. In order to avoid any accidents, I'll take care of them first. Yi Xian immediately took out a great Tao origin crystal and placed it in front of the disaster law. This is for you. A trace of surprise flashed in the disaster law's eyes. Great Tao origin crystal. Why do you have it? Yi Xian said with a smile. Don't ask so many questions. Go and break through to Intent Realm first. The disaster law glanced at Yi Xian and did not ask anything else. She picked up the Great Tao origin crystal, got up and left. At that moment Yi Xian turned around, and hundreds of people appeared by the lakeside. All of them were pseudo-Intent Realm experts. The leader was Shan Lin. He now had the ability to nurture these people to Intent Realm, but he was not confident that he could control them. Hundreds of Intent Realm experts. Only his father could keep it under control. Hence he was a little hesitant. However, if he didn't give them a chance to see him, then they wouldn't work wholeheartedly for him. Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, Shan Lin. Shan Lin hurriedly ran over to Yi Xian and bowed respectfully. Young Master Yi, do you have any instructions for me? Yi Xian gazed at Shan Lin. Do you want to attain intent? Shan Lin was stunned and then he nodded madly. Yes. Yi Xian opened his palm, and then a great Tao origin crystal appeared there. A great Tao origin crystal. Someone instantly exclaimed with shock. In an instant, the surroundings seethed with excitement. A great Tao origin crystal. In front of Yi Xian, Shan Lin snatched the great Tao source crystal from Yi Xian's hand. At this moment he was in a frenzied state. A great Tao origin crystal. It was exactly the quintessence energy of the Grand Tao that had forcefully obstructed his path towards the Grand Tao. If he was born a few 100,000 years earlier, then how could he, Shan Lin, be inferior to anyone? As if he'd sensed something, Shan Lin gazed at Yi Xian, and Yi Xian was still gazing at him with an icy cold gaze. At this moment, Shan Lin recalled that young Master Yi didn't seem to have said that he would give it to me. Are you still not going to return it? Shan Lin clenched the great Tao origin crystal tightly while his gaze gradually turned icy cold. Chapter 1679. After a short moment, Shan Lin suddenly passed the Grand Tao Abyss crystal to Yi Xian, and he smiled embarrassedly. Young Master Yi, I was slightly agitated. Please forgive me. Yi Xian said with a smile, this is a great Tao origin crystal. If you run now, you can completely rely on this item to reach concept. Shan Lin smiled bitterly. Young Master Yi is right. However, this belongs to young Master Yi. It will only be mine if young Master Yi gives it to me. If you don't give it to me, I can't take it away. He had thought of snatching it away. However, he did not choose to do so in the end. Reason triumphed over desire. What? It was very simple. This young Master Yi in front of him was no ordinary person. The Grand Tao Source Crystal had already gone extinct in the past. Not to mention a Grand Tao Source Crystal, there wasn't even a trace of the quintessence of the Grand Tao. But now, young Master Yi had actually taken out a Grand Tao Source Crystal. Great Tao Origin Crystals. Shan Lin was very clear that if he were to steal this origin crystal, it was extremely likely that he would be killed. Yi Xian smiled and said, Are you really not going to take it away? Shan Lin shook his head. Young Master Yi, I'm very tempted, but I'll say it again. If young Master Yi gives it to me, I want it. If not, I don't want it. Yi Xian looked at Shan Lin for a moment and smiled. It's for you. Shan Lin hesitated for a moment and said, This is too valuable. I can't. At this point he shook his head and sighed. Sigh. Forget it. Since it's young Master Ye's kind intentions, if I refuse, wouldn't it be too disrespectful to young Master Yi? As he spoke, he hurriedly took the Great Tao Origin Crystal. Yi Xian shook his head and laughed. You're really thick-skinned. Shan Lin laughed and bowed deeply. Thank you, young Master Yi. Yi Xian was about to speak when he suddenly frowned. He looked into the distance and saw that the pseudo-intent realm experts were looking at Shan Lin with unkind expressions. Obviously he wanted to snatch it. Shan Lin instantly became vigilant when he saw this scene. Yi Xian suddenly laughed and said, "What, you guys want to snatch it?" Those pseudo-intent realm experts looked at Yi Xian when they heard this. Yi Xian smiled and said, "If all of you want to seize it, then you can make a move right now." As he spoke, he opened his palm, and over a dozen great Tao origin crystals appeared in his hand. "I still have some here. Do you want to snatch them?" The expressions of those pseudo-concept experts instantly became solemn when they witnessed this scene. There were still so many. Yi Xian's smile gradually turned cold. "Come on. Come and snatch it. Don't be scared." When they saw this scene, not only did those false concept realm experts not dare to attack, their eyes were even filled with fear. In fact, they didn't even dare to make a move. As Yi Xian's sword descended, the entire star field started to be annihilated inch by inch. It wasn't just this star field. Even the time dimension of this star field was annihilated. And Yi Xian became extremely weak. Extremely weak. This sword seemed to have sapped all his strength. At this moment, the beast god suddenly said, "The power of your sword technique is very strong." Yi Xian grinned, "I created it myself. It's just average." The beast god was slightly doubtful. "You created it yourself?" Yi Xian nodded. The beast god fell silent for a moment, then said, "I underestimated you." Yi Xian laughed. At this moment, the beast god said, "I was talking about my face." Yi Xian's smile froze. The beast god said, "You didn't use the beast god's arm just now, right?" Yi Xian nodded, "I didn't." The beast god said, "That's right. If you use the beast god's arm, your sword technique should be even stronger. But your body and divine sense will not be able to withstand it." Yi Xian nodded, "That's what I'm worried about. Senior, do you have any way to improve my body and divine sense?" The beast god was silent for a moment, then said, "It's difficult. Because your body was tempered by that little girl's blood. Unless you have a beast's blood stronger than hers, it will be very difficult for you to have a substantial breakthrough." Yi Xian said softly, "That means I've reached a bottleneck." The beast god said, "Yes. You can improve yourself through battle. Find a strong opponent and keep breaking through your limits." Opponent? After a moment of silence, Yi Xian turned and left. Lakeside in front of the bamboo house. Yi Xian had just returned to the lakeside when he saw a familiar face. Yasushi Higashi. Yi Xian smiled when he saw Yasushi Higashi. Clan leader. Yasushi Higashi looked Yi Xian up and down, then shook his head. "I can't see through you anymore." Yi Xian smiled. "Clan leader, how many people from my undying imperial clan are here?" Yasushi Higashi said, 6. Yi Xian thought about it, then took out 12 great Tao origin crystals and handed them to Yasushi Higashi. Yasushi Higashi and the others' cultivation levels were on the lower side, so it would be much more difficult for them to break through to intent realm than those pseudo-intent realms. As long as those pseudo-intent realms had no impurities, they were basically just short of great Tao origin chi. Yasushi Higashi and the others were different. They were not pseudo-intent realms. Yasushi Higashi did not refuse and put the great Tao origin crystals away. Yi Xian said, "Clan leader, this was the bamboo house that God Yi left behind. There are many insights about martial arts inside. You can stay here and cultivate. If you encounter any problems, you can ask Ah Ming and the others." Yasushi Higashi nodded, "All right." Meanwhile, an old man outside the door spoke abruptly, "Young Master Yi." As far as I know, part of the reason why God Yi was able to escape unscathed back then was because of the eldest daughter of the Hera clan. At that time, the eldest daughter of the Hellion clan actually summoned the soul of the Hellion clan's ancestor for God Yi. Obviously, the eldest daughter of the Hera clan is not just interested in God Yi. Although the Hera clan is only the third largest clan in Eternal Life world, if she still has feelings for God Yi, it will be disadvantageous to us. As he spoke, he looked into the distance. "Let's deal with Yi Xian and the plain-dressed woman first. If the plain-dressed woman's strength exceeds our expectations by too much, then we'll inform the Yi clan. If the Yi clan wants to completely destroy God Yi, they must kill Yi Xian. If they want to kill Yi Xian, they must fight against the plain-dressed woman. At that time, even if we can't obtain God Ye's great Tao body, we can still take over the universe outside. The spiritual energy of the entire universe is enough to support our alien race for at least 10,000 years. Crescent Moon nodded. That's fine. Si Jing suddenly said, how long until the seal comes into contact? Crescent Moon said, at most half a month. Si Jing asked again, do you know where the plain-dressed woman is now? Crescent Moon said in a deep voice, she should be in the ruins of God by now. Si Jing frowned slightly. What is she doing there? Crescent Moon shook her head. I don't know. This person is too strong. Our people don't dare to approach and can only follow from afar. Si Jing was silent for a moment, then said, I'll go meet her. I must first figure out her strength. Crescent Moon thought for a moment, then nodded. Alright, be careful. Si Jing chuckled. Don't worry. Even if I can't beat this woman, if I want to leave, even 10 of her won't be able to stop me. His words were filled with confidence. With his current strength, he could not be said to be invincible in the world, but if he did not continue fighting, apart from that abnormal place, eternal life world, there were not many people in this world who could stop him. After a moment, Si Jing disappeared. Crescent Moon turned and looked into the distance. After a long time she chuckled. Yixian, Yixian, I'm afraid your backer is unreliable. After saying that, she turned and left. Under the guidance of Beast God, Yixian found a way out and left the alternate dimension. After returning to the sealed starry sky, Yixian immediately released Dao Yi. At this moment, Dao Yi was still abnormally weak. The damage caused by the soul-drilling nail was too great. If not for the soul-suppressing sword and the souls of the two intent realm experts, Dao Yi would already be dead. Yixian said in a deep voice, Senior Beast God, do you have any way? Beast God was silent for a long time. There is one way, but I don't know if you are willing to do it. Yixian hurriedly said, Senior, please say it. Chapter 1690. Seeing Yixian's action, Dao Yi shook his head and smiled. This guy was really mischievous. In front of Yixian, the flaming tiger suddenly roared. Clearly it was somewhat angry. However, Yixian did not care about it at all. He turned around and left. Seeing Yixian and his party leaving, the flaming tiger became furious and roared crazily, causing the mountains to tremble. However, it did not dare to attack. Fear. Yixian's sword attack just now had made it afraid. Because if Yixian attacked again, he would definitely be able to kill it. Inside the bamboo house, Yixian and Dao Yi were sitting opposite each other. Yixian said, if all of us outside reached the domain realm, would we be able to fight against the alien races? Dao Yi shook his head. Yixian said softly, the difference between peak experts? Dao Yi nodded. None of the people outside are weak. No, I should say that they are very strong. For them to be able to reach their current level, they must have been monstrous geniuses in the past. If they reached the domain realm, their strength would not be inferior to the domain realm experts of the alien races. However, we do not have enough peak experts. Yixian asked, above the domain realm? Dao Yi nodded. Yes. Yixian said softly, like Crescent Moon? Dao Yi shook his head. There is someone even stronger than her among the alien races, which is their patriarch. His strength is not something you can contend against. Yixian asked, how strong is he? Dao Yi glanced at Yixian. His strength is only slightly inferior to our master. And master's strength, excluding the eternal world, is only below 3 swords. Yixian turned silent. Dao Yi continued, the alien races have 2 goals in entering this world. The first is to obtain your Dao origin body, and the second is to absorb the spiritual energy of this universe. There isn't enough spiritual energy in this alternate dimension. If they defeat us, all the spiritual energy in this universe will be devoured by them. At that time, the overall strength of the alien dimensional race will reach a whole new level. Yixian said softly, the core is still spiritual energy. Dao Yi nodded his head. No force can do without spiritual qi, especially those big forces. They want to nurture more experts, so they need more spiritual qi. For hundreds of thousands of years, in order to develop themselves, the other dimensional race has been using spiritual energy and the source of the great Tao without restraint. Although the other dimensional race has become a superpower from a third-rate power, the source of the great Tao in the other dimensional world's universe has completely disappeared, and the spiritual energy is also rapidly drying up. As she spoke, she shook her head. Therefore, if the alien races want to survive, they must constantly devour other universes. At that moment, the beast god also said, that's right.